Hey guys, Jeff here from besttechie.com. Today I have a story for you. So those of you who follow my YouTube channel and my website know that back in December of 2017, I purchased an iMac Pro. Yep, I purchased an iMac Pro, planning to use it for all my work purposes, video editing, virtual machines, you name it, everything, typical work stuff that I do. And the first day I turned it on, it restarted just kind of randomly, actually. I was just using it and then it just restarted. So I chalked that up, that restart up to just, random kind of glitch that occurred. Then I don't know, I would say a couple months later, it happened again, just randomly, just restarted. So at this point, I was like, well, this is weird. So I called Apple, and they made a note of what was going on in a case file. And basically, they didn't really know what to do about it, and that was pretty much it. So then I said, all right, well, I'll keep an eye on it, and if it happens again, I'll call back. So a little over a month ago, I was editing a video, and every time I went to export the video, it wouldn't export. It would, hey Zuck. Zuck decided to join me for story time. So it wouldn't export. And basically what happened was, it would just restart every time. I tried directly with Final Cut. Through Final Cut, I tried exporting directly using compressor. None of that worked. It always restarted somewhere along the line of the export. So I called up Apple again. And this time, they had me run some diagnostics. They had me download the software that I ran. And then I sent them the logs, the report. And they said, all right, we'll have Apple engineering take a look at it, and then we'll get back to you. So they did that. So Apple engineering took a look at it, and they came back, and then they told me that there was a problem with the RAM in my computer. And that, made sense to me, just considering all the things that had gone on. There's clearly some kind of defective RAM issue. So I was like, all right. So they made me a Genius Bar appointment. All right. So they made the Genius Bar appointment. I went into the local Apple store, which is, for me, is the Apple store in downtown Brooklyn. They made the appointment for June 13th, okay? Now keep in mind, the iMac Pro weighs, I don't know, almost 22 pounds, all right? Almost 22 pounds. And I take really good care of my belongings. So I bought like $25 worth of bubble wrap and, wrappings and stuff to make sure it was safe in transport. Now keep in mind, another thing to keep in mind, I live in the city, I live in New York City, so I don't have a car. And so it's not the simplest of tasks for me to bring a 22-pound computer into the Apple store for a repair. So I had to get all this bubble wrap, and then I had to get an Uber, and then, I finally got to the store. And basically what happened was then, is they took the machine, they ordered the RAM, and they replaced the RAM, and 5 days later they called me. Well, that sounds good, right? I mean, yeah, it sounds all right. But then I was questioning them along the way, and I was asking a couple questions, and I found out that the repair could have been done a lot sooner. Could have been done maybe 3 days or less. Had they ordered the special bonding material for the display when they ordered the RAM. Now, to me, it just makes sense that you would order the bonding material and the RAM at the same time. It's more efficient because you have to take the display off in order to replace the RAM, right? I mean, that's the way it works. So I was a little frustrated by that, but at the end of the day, I got my computer back, and I brought it home. Wrapped it up real good, nice and safe. At the store, I had them help me a little bit with the bubble wrap, make sure everything was nice and safe. So I brought it home again in an Uber, because I'm not bringing a $7,000 plus computer on the subway. I don't think anyone would blame me on that one. So I get home, and now, before I move on with the story, you have to keep in mind, the following, that was a Wednesday, I believe, the 13th. So on that Friday, I actually had a LASIK procedure, a LASIK enhancement done to my eyes. So when I got home, I didn't go to the computer at all. I was barely looking at the computer for that, for a couple days. And when I noticed there was a slight like starburst, glowy effect on the center of the screen, usually only seen on white backgrounds that came up. So I wasn't really sure what to make of it, whether it was just my eyes or whether it was an actual issue. So I asked Mandy, she took a look, she said, yeah, I definitely see something, that's not right. So I called them up, and at this point I realized that they messed up putting the display back on when they replaced the RAM. They didn't do a good job. So I was frustrated at that. So they said, all right, we understand the situation, we'll order you a new display after a little coaxing on my part, and you keep the computer for now. When we get the display in, you can bring in the computer and we'll replace the display. Okay, good. So we did that. And at this point, I'm traveling back and forth with Uber. This is a couple times. I was probably had like at least $60 in Uber fares at this point. And especially that, at least half of those times were trips that I shouldn't have had to make, because I had to bring it back again, second time at that point, back and forth on the trips, to get the display replaced that they messed up. Okay, so finally, it takes them about a day to replace the display. The problem now comes to, well, they're still seeing issues with the display after they replace it with the new one. So they either are not well versed in replacing iMac Pro displays, or something is wrong with the computer. Either way, they say, what we're gonna do is we're gonna order you a CRU, or a CRU, which stands for Complete Replacement Unit. And I said, all right. They said, you can take the computer back to back home, and we'll let you know when the CRU comes here, when the new machine gets in. I said, all right, fine. They said, by the way, it could take up to 2 weeks for this to happen. Now, keep in mind, this was on June 29th that they were telling me this, that they were ordering, or June 28th or 29th, that they were telling me they were going to order this brand new unit for me. It could take up to 2 weeks. Okay. So I bring the unit home. A couple days later, I noticed that on the bottom left-hand side of the display, it's coming apart from the enclosure. I freak out. I mean, wouldn't you? They clearly botched the repair of the display again. And I'm like, well, I should tell somebody, because I don't want them thinking that I broke it. So I call up Apple. I call up the store. I also call up Apple, and I start this relationship with this customer service guy. His name is Justin, who's been very, very nice to me throughout this entire ordeal now. And we start talking, and he's trying to help me out. And while Justin's trying to help me out, I also have the store telling me that, well, you can bring the iMac Pro back in, and we can reapply the display until the new one comes in, then you can have that one, obviously. I'm like, at this point, I figured it would just be a couple more days until the new one got there, because it was literally in the second week. We were in the second week. I figured it would show up any day now, the new machine, the CRU. And so I was like, nah, plus I didn't want to spend more money on Uber, and these guys had already said that they would try and, give me something from the store to kind of offset all these trips that I've had to make, and also just to make it up to me because it's taken so long. So then, let's fast forward to the complete 2 weeks. July 13th comes along. I call the store. They tell me that they don't really have an update. They're not very, very helpful to me. They said that they can see that the crew team, or the CRU team, is working on it, and that they should have it shipped soon. I also had been speaking with Justin who's a senior Apple customer support specialist at Apple, not at the store, at the corporate line. And he's telling me that he got in touch with the store as well, and that they think that it'll probably show up in the next week, probably later in the week, by Friday or so. He said maybe. He didn't promise anything, but he said it seems like that's what's going to happen. So then that was the week of July 16th. Now, at this point, I'm really frustrated, right? Like, this is taking forever. This is ridiculous. And I figured by the end of that week, July 20th, the day after my birthday, maybe some good luck will come in and I'll have the new computer in my hands. Nothing. So I call the store on July 20th sometime in the afternoon. I'm like, what's going on? They said, and then they tell me they dropped this on me. Just, this is unbelievable. They dropped this. The crew team is having some system issues or something. It really wasn't very understandable because I'm not familiar with their internal systems, obviously. And they're doing something to the system, or it's being upgraded, or it's down, or I'm not really sure. And they're saying now that all shipments may take another 2 weeks from July 20th, from that day. And at this point, it's like, you've got to be freaking kidding me, because now we're now past a month since this whole debacle started. It's from when I brought the computer in June 13th to now at that point July 20th, and today's July 24th. Still no computer. Still no update. They have no idea when it's going to ship out. This is just unfreaking believable. I'm just really frustrated because look, I've been a long-time Apple customer. I've pretty much owned every single Apple product that they've announced, released in the past decade. And there's one guy there, Justin, who's been super helpful and nice and trying to get me through this process, but everyone else has been really, really, really frustrating to deal with. And on top of that, one of the things I wanted to mention also was that the store offered to kind of make it right to me by giving me something from the store. I was told that I could go on the Apple website, pick out something I wanted, and that they would, trying to make me whole, I guess, from all the trips and for how long I've been waiting and stuff like that. So I figured today I would call the Apple store in downtown Brooklyn and take them up on their offer. So I call the Apple store downtown Brooklyn and I say, hey, I end up speaking with one of the store managers, the senior store managers there, and I say, well, I'd like to take you up on the offer. I'd like for you to provide a HomePod to me. Now, HomePod I understand it's a $350 product, but we're still ongoing and there's no resolution in sight. They've been not helpful. They've been dragging the process out for over a month now. I have no idea when I'm going to get this new machine. This display is going to freaking come off the hinges any time now. I don't know. And then what am I going to do? So basically I said I would like a HomePod, and the guy he just kind of laughed at me. He's like, you're like kind of like you're joking, right? And I was like, and he's like, I can give you AirPods. I'm like, first of all, I already own AirPods. Second of all, they don't really fit in my ear, so I don't want that. He's then this is where it really pissed me off. He said, well, I can give you 50% off a HomePod, and then he reiterated, and don't remember, we're getting you a new computer. Yeah, you're fucking getting me a new computer because you're broke my current one. Like, that's on you. It has nothing to do with me. You've made me make unnecessary amounts of trips to this store, spending money on Uber fare and wrapping it up and buying bubble wrap, and just the headache that I've had to go through just with this machine is insane. So if anyone out there at Apple is watching and they can do something about this and get me a new machine, please get in contact with me. I don't even care about the HomePod. I just want a new computer that's 100% functional, that is not broken in any way, and I just want something now. I've been waiting forever. So you can contact me at jeff@besttechy.com. You can reach out to me on the comments, whatever. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant. I know I'm just frustrated. I'm just frustrated. I hope someone out there at Apple can see this. I hope that if you have experienced a similar issue, that this kind of gives you a platform also to speak up and share that with the world, because this is just insanity. So yeah, I'm still waiting for a new computer. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And remember, take care of your computers. Maybe the Apple guys need to figure out how to do that.